Okay, I think we're ready to go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. You are at LAFCO, Stanislaus County LAFCO. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd. It's right around 6 o'clock. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I never did this. There we go. That was good. All right, let's move on to our introduction of commissioners and staff, and we'll start down here with Amy.
Amy Bublak, city member.
Bill O'Brien, public member.
Peter Kiesa, county member.
Suze Wallen, city member.
Terry Withrow, county member.
Charlie Gokin, alternate city member.
Jamie Yeagers, alternate public member.
Javier Camarena, assistant executive officer.
Sarah Lytle Penny, executive officer.
John Whitehead, county council.
Jennifer Vieira, commission clerk.
Very good. Thank you all. Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. This is a period of the meeting where we take public comments, and it's for anything that's not on the agenda. If it's an item that's on the agenda, everybody will have a chance to speak to that when that happens. And so I've got 4 speaker cards tonight so far, and even if you didn't fill out a card, you can still speak after that. So let's start off with Milt Treeweiler. Milt, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, commissioners, staff, and community members. Milt Treeweiler. I have some thoughts and ideas to share tonight. Do the people who are alive today have the right to squander the best farmland on earth? Was Stanislaus County farmland created just so we could destroy it by making it a food desert? Do we have the responsibility to our children and descendants or for saving this farmland in Stanislaus County just for people who are alive today? All of us need to examine what we believe. It's our responsibility to save this natural resource for our children and descendants. Nothing will impact the future of our children and descendants' quality of life more than the votes of the Stanislaus County LAFCO commissioners. Long after you're dead, the decisions that you make as LAFCO commissioners will determine if the best farmland on the earth will remain an ag-producing region. The 9 cities in the county small town growth areas need to practice infill development, building up and repurposing blighted areas. Most importantly, we as a county must commit to building on the poorest soils. Remember that our TID and MID ancestors gave us the first 2 irrigation districts in California in 1887. Yesterday, the Don Pedro Dam water level was 89% of capacity in the dam, even though we didn't get that much rain this season. Here in the central part of Stanislaus County, we have the best farmland on earth. This farmland north of Modesto, north of Turlock, and all around Ceres and Houston can grow food for hundreds of years. It is not true that good, honest, ethical politicians, is it not true that good, honest, ethical politicians and public appointees are defined by a firm commitment to integrity, placing public welfare over their own personal gain? Was Stanislaus County farmland created so we could just destroy it by making it into a food desert? Do we have a responsibility to our children and descendants, or is this farmland in Stanislaus County just for the people who are alive today? The answer is, we know what it is. We have a responsibility for our children and descendants, so let's take care of them. Thank you.
Thanks, Milt. Okay, next up we have Lori Wolf. Lori, good evening. How are you?
Good, doing good. Thank you for letting me talk. I'm Lori Wolf. I live on Kansas Avenue in Modesto. I'm the MAC secretary for the Wood Colony. And I'm here tonight. I haven't been to a LAFCO meeting for, I want to say like 5, 6 years. There was one out in Patterson. It was rather contentious. But I'm here, and I'm going to continue to be here because I really care about how this board handles development and protects farmland in Stanislaus County. There's a lot of things going on. There's, Riverwalk in Riverbank. There's the encroachment from the city of Modesto out into the west side. And I know you all know, you know more than I do about what's going on, but I just want to be here and participate in the process. And thank you for being able to share our comments with you. My heart is with Wood Colony, but other places too. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Next up, Todd Heinrich. Todd, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners. I've never been here before. I've been in this building, but not to LAFCO. So it's kind of nice to at least see how you're set up. I want to talk about the 2020 plan that the city of Modesto is putting forward. My great-grandfather came to Wood Colony and built a house right there on the corner of Shoemake and Dakota in 1905. He helped my grandfather have a little dairy on Shoemake further out. He sold that to my dad, and my dad sold that to me. My daughter and my son-in-law and my 3 grandchildren live right on a parcel right next to it, which used to be part of the property. My son still lives on the property. So we have, my father's still alive, so we have 4 generations there. So community means something to us. And I guess this is a preemptive discussion I'm having with you because it's not before you, I understand that. But it could be before you, so I'd rather talk about it ahead of time than talk about it later, which we'll do that also, I'm sure, if it comes to that. So community is important, and I think that some of the problems with what's being proposed on any of the 3 plans that is on the 2020 plan is that it will hurt our community. It will break some of the community up. So there was some community outreach that was done and by the city, and they came up with a lot of people that stated that they did not want the city to encroach into Wood Colony. And I think I have someone that can confirm that, that's here, from the city. So they made an effort to exclude Wood Colony from their plan. The problem is they didn't really exclude Wood Colony from their plan. They went to the book that Lowell Beechler wrote, which is called the Wood Colony District. And I have one of those at my house. Maybe some of you have seen it. And they pulled a map out of that book. That map is the original 1,760 acres that was bought by, that was subdivided up, and people bought that when the irrigation, we were talking about the irrigation coming to the valley. Soon after that, they subdivided up a lot of land. So that original 1,760 acres, as is stated in the book, was the beginnings. That's what Lowell says, the beginnings of Wood Colony, not the end of Wood Colony. So beyond that is, outside of those boundaries of 1,760 acres, is where the original German Baptist Wood Colony Church was. It's closer to Salida, down Dakota. Now that is not part of what's being saved by the city. That's part of what they want to annex. Oh boy, okay.
Keep going.
Okay, I'll finish real quick. So my concern is they take part of the book, they don't take all of the book. They haven't read the rest of the book. In that book, in that same general area, he explains what he thinks Wood Colony is when he wrote that in 07 or 06 or somewhere in that time. So it's there, but I have a problem is that they're picking out one thing out of the book and not reading the rest of the book. So I'm glad they want to save Wood Colony, but their definition of Wood Colony is not correct. And I would like them to save all of Wood Colony because that's gonna have cause trouble in our community. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Can I ask a follow-up
Sure.
question? Do you mind saying your father's first name?
William.
William, okay.
Everybody called him Bill. But all the Heinrichs are related out there.
I
So
know
if you
that.
know someone, I could tell you how I'm related to him.
Got
but-
it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, the last speaker card I have is Joe Dooley. Joe, good evening, how are you?
I'm still here. Just a couple of notes that I wanted to bring by that I didn't have a chance last night. I was at a meeting earlier this year on Wood Colony, and one of the representatives there was from Modesto, and she had a map in which Wood Colony was broke up into 3 different zones. And she said first that Modesto only wanted to take this one small section at the bottom of it. And then later on, she said, well, then we're going to go for the second part. And then eventually, I got her to say she wanted that Modesto wanted all of it. They're not after just parts of this. They want to turn it into concrete and asphalt. You've already started on out from Kiernan, coming in on Tully, from McHenry on to Briggs, down Briggsmore and everything. I remember working in Peaches on Old Oakdale from Scenic Avenue all the way out to Patterson. And now the only place you can find peaches is on Patterson Road. There's 2 ranches out there that have peaches. That's it for the entire county. And this area used to be known for peaches. Ceres used to have a peach festival. All that is gone. It'll never come back. Once you build these houses, which are just for a short period of time of getting some kickbacks and everything, you know, it's all done. My understanding is there are a couple of people that want to sell their ranches out there. Fine, go ahead and sell them. That's how my dad got his ranch, and that's how other people bought theirs. They bought them from private owners. But you don't have to ruin everyone else's lives by stealing the whole freaking area. Thank you for hearing me.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, that is the last speaker card I have. Is there anybody else that would like to speak that didn't fill out a card before we move on? Okay, seeing none, thank you all for coming and speaking. Let's move on to correspondence. Any correspondence?
There's no additional correspondence tonight.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Okay, let's move on to declaration of conflicts and disqualifications. Anybody have any conflicts, disqualifications with regard to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll keep going. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Anybody have any item on the consent calendar that you would like to pull and have discussed? Anybody from the audience have anything from the consent? Milt?
Yes, Milt Treeweather. When I was born in Turlock, I actually lived in Denair for the first 28 years of my life. And I'm very familiar with the city of, or not the city, the community of Denair. And we're looking at this without really making any stipulations on what can and can't be done. This is just an open door to whatever these people want to do. And that's very disturbing. This is the time that LAFCO has some power that can be good for the county of Stanislaus. This is a time that you can make a decision that will really help our children and descendants 100 years, 200, 300 years from now. I'm not saying that that's the best farmland. I know that is not the best farmland. That is a good place to develop. That is not Wood Colony. That is not good farmland. However, you're not making it into anything that's going to be of any value. You're not going to take away or use it as an opportunity to build housing so that we don't have to take over the other places around here that are really the best farmland on earth. And it's disturbing to see this, that you just keep passing these things without any real thought that I understand. I'm going to start going to the Planning Commission meetings because I think that'll give me a better idea of what's going on. A lot of times the Planning Commission makes decisions that aren't necessarily rational decisions. It's just pushing things through. You're not thinking about this. You're not saying, okay, and so we could make this a development where they have 9 households on every acre. Just put that as a stipulation. That would give us, you know, a couple hundred houses there. And that would give us some housing. It's in an area that really makes no difference. The soil is not that good, the area is not that good, but it's a good place to build smaller housing. And we're not using these opportunities when we should. We don't think about filling in. That's infill. That's infill. And that's a perfect place for it. We've got that in Turlock. We've got that in Modesto. We've got all this infill land. We've got it in Riverbank. We've got it all over. This is the time to use it. This is when we need to use it. So I think you should really put some stipulations on this and not just say, yes, 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 yes. That's not thinking about your children and descendants. It is your responsibility to see that this is done properly now. We don't get a second chance. Thank you.
Thanks, Milt. Vito, go ahead.
Yeah, so just to respond, what is up on item B today for the public, this is Hoffman Ranch. It's a 16-acre annexation, and this is to join the service area within County Service Area 21. The housing project, which came through county's planning, had nothing to do with this organization. It had to do with the county, and those comments on the amount of housing that you'd like to see there should come to the county. You should come to the Board of Supervisors, which you do generally, but this is just joining the county service area.
Okay, thanks, Vito. Any other comments before we? Okay, then we're going to look for a motion for the consent items. Motion to approve the consent items.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have
I'll
a
second it.
motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to a public hearing, proposed LAFCO budget for the fiscal year 26-27. Sarah.
Yes, good evening. So staff has gone ahead and prepared a proposed budget for you for the upcoming fiscal year 26-27. We prepare the commission's budget consistent with adopted policies and also various cost estimates we receive from the county. The proposed budget represents an increase of a little over $35,000 as compared to the current year. A detailed breakdown of each of the accounts is in your packet, but this is just an overview of the overall categories that I'm going to highlight here. So first off, the overall increase to LAFCO's budget is, like I said, the $35,000 represents approximately 5% over the current year. LAFCO staff falls within the county's benefit system, so we rely on estimates for retirement, as well as health insurance costs that are provided by the county every year. During the past year, we experienced an unanticipated salary increase. It was a COLA that was approved, or a cost of living increase approved by the county. So staff received a 4% salary increase for fiscal year 25-26, which we needed a minor budget adjustment to cover. And then for the upcoming fiscal year, the county also approved a 4% salary increase, which is reflected in this budget. In terms of services and supplies, that category actually has an overall decrease of 9%. The majority of that decrease is due to the removal of the biannual audit item, which we already completed. There's also been a slight reduction in our office space costs. That was due to the 10th Street JPA doing a full reevaluation of office space in the building. So they would reflect departments paying for only the space that they use. But it also took away a lot of the internal agreements between county and city departments trying to charge each other back and forth for things. So we ended up having a little bit of savings there. There's some minor increases for our individual services that we project for IT, for example. But at the end of all of that and looking at what our fund balance is, we estimate that there is at least $20,000 in fund balance that we can use to offset contributions. So this is the commission's reserve funds, and these are spelled out actually in the commission's policy as well. The first just being a 15% general fund reserve, which I've shown here has gone up slightly just in comparison to our overall costs. The next is a accrued leave fund, which is the value of what would be the cash out liability for accrued vacation and sick time for employees. That third category there, long-term liability, is something that the Commission has in the past chosen to include as part of a long-term liability reserve intended to represent the employer's long-term unfunded pension liability. And these estimates vary significantly every year. We were quoted, I think, in the prior year's estimate as $740,000. We received a more current estimate that's closer to $705,000. The commission has previously directed staff to continue adding and building that reserve amount, but it may want to consider that in 2021, the county actually removed those estimates from individual agencies' balance sheets. And the counties emphasized that LAFCO staff, because we are county staff, the county is record of employer, at least for those liabilities, and that's how they're reporting them. So the commission can choose to continue maintaining a reserve, potentially not continuing to build it, but that may be something that warrants a future discussion regarding pension liability. This just is the breakdown of the city and county's allocations. The county, by state law, always pays half of the LAFCO budget. The rest of the budget is allocated based on proportion of cities' revenues. And it's reported by the state controller, so it's usually a couple of years behind, but the pie sort of breaks out slightly differently every year, but with Modesto obviously having the next largest section of the pie, and then some of the smaller cities going back and forth their percentages a little bit. Page 8 on your staff report actually gives the full breakdown for what each city is projected to contribute. And even though our budget's gone up, there's a couple cities, I think Ceres and Houston, where their contributions actually are projected to go down this year. Let's see. Here's what the budget's been looking like, but also in terms of our agency contributions. We've been offsetting agency contributions every year with either leftover fund balance or projected application revenues. And I've been kind of warning that, you know, as our budget gets a little bit tighter and closer to what we're actually budgeting for our expenses, our fund balance is getting kind of reduced, and that gap is sort of narrowing there for at least for the next fiscal year. So every year we're going to offset agency contributions with whatever additional fund balance that we've earned and whatever we project for application revenues. This year in particular, we've already gone above our what we projected for application revenues, so we're able to still continue to give back fund balance. In terms of our work program, which the commission actually approved earlier this year, we're continuing to make progress on the 2026 Municipal Services Review Work Program. It's got 32 special districts on it. That includes county service areas. That's why it sounds like a large number. Application revenue remains steady, as well as our what I consider our pre-application revenue, or not revenue, pre-application activity from both cities and special districts. So those are upcoming applications that staff is already either assisting those cities and special districts with, or providing them some sort of technical input on prior to receiving those. And then we are conservatively estimating that we'll get $20,000 in application revenues. That's pretty typical. Our application revenues really only account for about 3 or 4% of our overall revenues in a year, and they can fluctuate greatly based on the type of applications that are submitted in that year. So the staff's recommendation is to go ahead and conduct the public hearing. We've prepared a resolution 2026-09 for the proposed budget, and then the commission will be scheduling its final budget for our next meeting in May. And I'm available if you have questions.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Sarah before we open the public hearing?
Can I clarify what I think I see here? Is that we're estimated to have 29,000 of fund balance at the end of the year left over? That's the way we stand now, and we need 20,000 of that to balance next year's budget?
That's what we're using to offset contributions next year.
Offset contributions. So, but there's still 9,000 left over that goes into reserves?
Right.
And so all things being equal?
Right.
But you haven't built in, because it's 443 is the raise, and a mistake, it would be a mistake for you to ever budget not some increase in salary. Better to underperform than to have to overperform, which is the situation we're in. Right. And so the conservative would probably be 2%, but you should always build in 2% escalator in there, so that you would have only been caught off guard for 2%. That would be one. I don't, using fund balance makes sense to me. It always does in lieu of contributing more. But if we ever go upside down where fund balance, where we're actually taking out of that, I would strongly suggest we raise the membership dues to cover that cost.
Okay.
Yes, you would have to.
Thanks, Vito. Anybody else? Any comments? Bill?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do have some questions, comments, and not sure how to politically do this, but that's not my middle name. I understand that we rely on the county for a lot of services, including auditing. And just, I understand that this is a very small budget compared to other agencies in this county, but with what's happened in the past year, and now sitting on here as a public member, I just have to ask, do we have internal checks and balances that look at expenses, or are we solely relying on the county auditor to catch those? And it's no offense to any staff member. I'm not implying that there's any issues. It's just what's happened in the past year. I'm a public member looking inside saying,
Right.
okay, what are we doing to make sure we are doing the best we can with these taxpayer dollars?
Yeah. So we are certainly subject to all of the county policies, including credit card policies, travel policies, every interaction that we have that's financial falls under those policies. But I consider us to be sort of double audited. So we have those county policies, we have all of those checks in place. But in addition to that, the commission has a 2-year audit that we do so that we're a little bit more transparent. So we have an outside auditor actually check not only the county's financials, but then they pull our independently, our records as well. So I consider us sort of double safeguarded in that respect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think, go ahead, Sue.
You referenced the 200,000 long-term liability reserve. Is that something that you are expecting us to make a decision on tonight? Because you also referenced maybe at another time talking about that.
It's one of those things that we've had conversations, I think, in previous budget years too, where there's so much uncertainty with that number, and it is sort of a, there's probably differing opinions of whether that should be kept as an actual separate reserve or just something to be mindful of. That number has so many uncertainties involved with it in terms of it's not going to be something that tomorrow the county retirement system comes to us and asks a check for that amount. So I think that's maybe where there's some potential disagreement of whether or not that should be kept as like an actual physical reserve or just something that we're aware of for the future.
Okay, so my question was, do you expect some decision about how we do that tonight, or is that for a discussion for another time?
I think, staff's, the way I've placed it in the budget has been sort of status quo with the way we've been directed to in previous years. But I'm just sort of putting it out there that it has so much uncertainty with it that if the commission wanted us to direct staff to either come back with a different, if you had different direction than what we've received, we could come back with that at final budget with a different strategy.
All right. Did you say something about it was maybe duplicated?
Not necessarily duplicated. There is some maybe differing opinions about how it should be represented, if it's the county's liability to show, or if it is something truly that LAFCO should be showing and accounting for.
All right, well, I'll let
Yeah.
the chair take care of that, however you want. I'm not sure whether that's.
I think if I understand it correctly, the county has added it to their balance sheet for all the departments.
Right.
And each department isn't separately showing it on their balance sheet as a liability.
Correct.
And we continue to show that there. If we were to stop that practice, we would just move that money to kind of unappropriated, basically,
Right.
part of our general.
Which we could either start, basically, if it's back to being part of our fund balance, we could start putting that back towards agency contributions, basically giving that back to the agencies. The commission could choose to hold that for another purpose if it had one, but currently, I don't think there's another section of our reserve policy that that would
So it would probably roll into our
justify
general.
holding it,
Yeah, it would probably roll under the general fund then,
Yeah.
if it was no longer a liability of this agency, yeah.
But it's a separate agency, and maybe this current Board of Supervisors may not say it's due, but we know LAFCO has an unfunded liability. And at some point in the future, a Board of Supervisors is going to say, LAFCO's unfunded liability is LAFCO's unfunded liability. I think it's prudent to continue this reserve fund for that rainy day, because it will rain someday.
So how long has this reserve fund been in effect?
I want to say we've probably only had it for maybe 5-6 years, maybe a little bit before, because I think I had mentioned in there that in 2021, though, they had shifted it, so it must have been just prior to that. There was some sort of accounting regulation that came out requiring agencies to show the pension liability. So when that requirement came out, I think is when it started popping up on our balance sheet.
And so it's been at 200,000, and so that same 200,000 just keeps carried over each
Right.
budget year, correct?
Right.
So I mean, the agencies aren't making new contributions, it's just the same 200,000 that gets carried over year to year.
That we're setting aside. And we did build it up last year, and then in this year, it is being proposed to be added to, again, should the commission want to continue holding it.
So it's not just at 200,000, there's more,
In the prior year, I think the commission added 50,000 to it, so it might have been 150,000 prior. Go back and look.
I think-
Yeah, there we go. So-
Budget, they had savings, and so rather than reimburse a number of agencies, they put it towards a reserve.
Yeah, at the time, the commission was giving direction to just keep building it until it got to a comfortable level. And I think even in the last year or two, the commission had mentioned, looking at all of our reserves, right? Because our total reserves, as proposed, is 468,000. Okay, so certainly cash out liability is probably the one that has the most risk of needing to be used, right? If I left, if I retired, that would get cashed out, so that would be used almost immediately. But, the other ones could, in theory, if one was needed, like that 15% general reserve could be added to that if for some reason tomorrow they said you needed to show that amount, you could accumulate those. So we have a lot of reserves right now.
Okay. So let's go out to the public maybe here before, and then we can bring it back here and talk about what we want to do with this. And I just want to mention just really quick, and I know we leave off the interest income we anticipate to earn. We left that off last year, and then is there a reason you just can't guess what that's going to be?
Yeah, it fluctuates so wildly for us that I haven't been putting it on there.
And do we get that from the treasurer? Is that where that comes
Yeah.
from, that number? Just at the end of the year, they give us a...
Yes, and
dollar.
so that gets factored in, and that also gets factored in for our fund balance to go
Right.
back to the agencies.
Okay. Okay, very good. Any other comments, questions before we open the public hearing? Okay. Open the public hearing. Anybody from the public would like to come and discuss the budget? Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for further discussion or a motion. What's everybody think about that? Let's just go ahead.
Oh, I think we need to take staff's recommendation on the reserves. If you look at what's undesignated in 27-28, it's $658. That's what's left of undesignated fund balance. I think we need to take staff's recommendation, leave those fund balances in place, because you're going to need it at some point.
Yeah, is that a motion? You were going to comment? Sorry.
No.
I'll make the motion to approve the budget as presented by staff.
Very good.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you guys very much. Good job. Okay, we'll move on to other business. No other business. Commissioner comments? Any commissioner comments? One of those. Additional matters of discretion of the chairperson, none. Executive officers report. Sarah?
Yes. Cal LAFCO hosted the LAFCO 201 this morning as a webinar, and we will let you know when that gets posted if you'd like to watch that in an on-demand kind of format. I had mentioned a couple meetings ago that we had been working to update our geographical information system, so GIS. That has been completed, and we also upgraded and replaced the map viewer that's on our website. You might have seen a message on there if you'd gone to our website over the past couple months that it was under construction, and so I had a temporary map on there, but now it's finally back to normal and it's functioning and it's better than ever. A few other things that we're currently working on. We still have the fire reorganization application, which we anticipate to be heard in June. We have a protest hearing that we're scheduling for the Waterford annexation that had been approved by the commission last month. We'll be scheduling that in the upcoming month. And then for our May 27th meeting, we have a municipal service review for the healthcare and hospital districts, final budget, and then a closed session for the executive officer's performance evaluation.
Could you what was the fire issue?
It's a reorganization. It will be Stanislaus Consolidated and Series Rural Fire Protection District.
Okay, very good.
That's all.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you all tonight. This meeting is adjourned. Oh, I didn't talk, sorry. Very good. Now we're adjourned.